Welcome everybody and warm greetings to all of you present. Today is an extremely special day for us as we have not just one but three amazing guests. And now I hand over the session to our curator Balaji. Over to you.
Thank you, Tanzila. Good evening, audience. Good evening, all the attendees. We have attendees coming in as we talk. Thanks a lot for joining us for this special session today on Masterclass with Native Brands. We have the complete three generations of Sangeeta Mobile's family with us today. Just before we go on to the program, I have a quick, roundup of what we do. This is a program presented by Academy 10X and Retailers Association of India, Lukoi, Rainmakers, and Your Story Tamil. For all the audience who are coming from Retailers Association and from Your Story Tamil, welcome and thanks for having you guys here. And we also have other partners who are on board with us. We have Fiki Flow, Head Start, CK Angels, SPI, 50K Ventures, SMEX, Young Indians also helping us reach out to the ecosystem. As you are aware, this platform has been doing a lot of webinar courses for retail and SME sector during the last 3 months of lockdown. We have done specific courses on building strong brands, on going digital and changing your digital transformation, on venture funding, and how to franchise and retail your businesses. So we've had about 50 plus business leaders speak on this platform, including right from Mr. Dilip Kapoor, Mr. C.K. Ranganathan, Mr. C.K. Kumaravel, Mr. Kumar Rajagopalan, Mr. Velumani, Girish Madhurputam, and so forth, right? And we've had a tremendous response, and thanks to you guys, we've had almost like 5,500 people whom we have trained on this platform in the last 3 months alone. And this particular series is something special to me and special to Rai as well, because we are talking about native brands, and we have something called as, we have a framework which we are talking about the native brands, wherein we are saying that most of the SME brands and retailer brands are family run businesses, promoter driven businesses, which are mostly regional, and they are not like, having access to huge capital. They don't have, MNC kind of a backing. They are not corporatized yet, but these brands have ensured that they have grown to a different level and moved to the next level of business. So these are the brands that we are profiling through this week. And on Friday and Saturday we have a program, online training that's coming up on how to move your brand from being a native brand to be a super brand. So that's what we are doing this Friday and Saturday, and it's a 2-day 6 hours certified program by Rai, and we will give you more details on that program as we go along. But today's topic is the branding and native brands masterclass of a special company called Sangeeta Mobile. You will understand why I'm again and again using the word special. This is special to me because this family and also this brand has been huge, largely inspirational for us as retail observers, as retailers, and we've always looked up to this family. And this is it's all the more special for me because I'm getting the opportunity to have all the three generations of Sangeeta Mobile together in one frame. So I'd like to welcome Sri L.P. Narayana Reddy sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you for accepting to come and be a part of it. And we are excited to have you. So thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. You can say, yeah. Namaste.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Wonderful. Thank you, Subhash Chandra sir. So we've been, as retailers, been friends, sharing notes. So for a different change in role, I'm going to raise a few questions this time. So please bear with me on that. And of course, we have the next generation, Chandu, as well. Good evening, Chandu. Thanks for coming in. And I think it's a great thing to have all three generations talk, and we're going to see how the future is moving for Sangeeta Mobile, especially. And for people who are new to this platform, just a small introduction. I am Balachandar. I am the founder of Wassup Laundry, one of India's pioneers in the laundry space. So I've been about 20 years in retail. I've worked with brands like High Design, Your Story, Naturals currently, and also work on business transformation for retail and consumer companies. So apart from my entrepreneurial venture, I'm a proud council member of Retailers Association of India. And all the retailers here, I would like to have a quick hi from you, welcoming the Sangeeta family as well on the chat box. So let's make it a little bit interactive so that we all can, also take questions as well as we go along. Can I hear a hi and good evening for the speakers today, please, on the chat box? Yes. Hi, Balaji. Hi, Mohammed. We see a lot of eyes. Yeah, thank you guys. Keep that going. Keep the energy going as we go on. So just to give a quick introduction for people who are uninitiated, Sangeeta Mobile started off in a very, very modest way as a single store selling gramophone records 46 years ago. So even every time I hear Subhash Chandra sir talk about this story, I get goosebumps and tears together. I'm sure someday someone is going to make a movie out of it, but you will see how they have moved it from a single store business to now 650 plus stores and more than 4,000 employees with a customer base that serves more than 65 million. And not only they have done that, they have also kept in tune with the times. They from gramophone pivoted to cassettes to CDs, and from CDs to mobile. So that's not something that normally everyone does. I know a lot of businesses, when the music industry went downward, they shut down shop. Here, there's a family that kept changing and pivoting and moving towards success. So that's something that's a never give up attitude of Sangeeta Mobiles that I admire, and that's the journey we are going to listen today. And we also, many of us already know about the innovations that Sangeeta has brought to the table. Probably they were one of the first in India to bring about many innovations, which Subhash Chandra sir is going to say. But also they were probably one of the first in the world to come up with few innovations. So that's something very exciting. So I'm sure you will all take back a lot of inspiration during this challenging times post this webinar, and then we will towards the end take questions as well. Now to start off, I would like to call Shri LP Narayana sir to start off a journey. So where it all started, you remember the initial days when you set up the store for gramophones, and what was your thought? And I know how you Subhash sir used to tell me how both of you used to be at the shop. We want to hear a little bit from you about the journey, sir.
Thank you, Bala. Friends, namaste. Today, I am here face to face with all of you, my friends. This has happened not with a jiffy. See, I am thankful to a few persons who have played a wonderful part, an incomparable part in this journey of mine. First one is my maternal uncle, Sri Venkat Subbareddy, who brought me up and who gave education to me and made me what I am today. But for him, I would never have been sitting here. I would never have known a few English words also. Perhaps I might have been a farmer doing cultivation in my village. The second person is the namesake of my uncle, another Venkat Subbareddy, who took care of my son Subhash Chandra when his mother passed away at his very early age. He not only took him under a shelter, he gave him education, and today whatever Subhash is, whatever he has achieved today in this world, it is all entirely due to this Venkat Subbareddy. I might be the biological father of Subhash Chandra, but everything he has achieved, I believe the credit should entirely go to Mr. Second Subbareddy. He was a friend of mine, nothing more than that. But he played such a huge role in transforming Subhash from a small kid into what he is today. And then the third person, Sri DPS Reddy, Chairman of Vijay Appliances Private Limited and Chairman of Taj Coromandel Hotel earlier. He is no more now. He was chairman for these two companies. And he made me believe, he tutored me, he mentored me, he made me believe that in business, humaneness also plays a very big role. See, with this humane approach, we make all our customers members of our family. They are not just buyers, They are not just paying cash to us for the material that they take home. They are believed to be, they are made to believe that they are members of our family. So these three persons played huge roles in our progress. Yes, Sangeeta started. After all, I believe, it's a fact, I believe, all human beings, they want to climb up the staircase of success. No one would be satisfied with being wherever they are, enjoying whatever they are enjoying. See, they would like to make it better life for themselves and people around themselves. So, Sangeeta started in 1974 on May 31st with selling gramophone records primarily, gramophones and gramophone records. So, yes, gramophones were available, gramophone records were available in Bangalore, in many other shops also. In fact, there was a big shop, HME House, having 5 or 6 branches. So, we were placed on JC Road, a jungle of automobiles, a sea of automobiles. There we placed Sangeeta, and Sangeeta slowly built up a reputation, and customers considered that Sangeeta was their own. It happened not just by making a bill, giving the record or gramophone to the customer. We actually had a little add-on to this. For example, in gramophone records business, the most popular sought after records may not be available at times. We used to take down the customer's address, note down, and as and when the record was received, we used to convey this information to the customer with a postcard. See, those days, leave alone mobile phones, even devotee phone also was not available in Sangeeta. So postcard was the only means for us to communicate to our customers. We religiously followed this. Whenever any important record that the customer asked for was not available when it was received, we used to communicate, and the customer used to feel thrilled because others were not doing it, we were doing it. Though the postcard may have costed only 10 paise or 15 paise or 20 paise at the most, this service was considered to be a huge factor that brought the customers very close to us, and the customers believed that Sangeeta was their own shop. They didn't consider they were part of customers of Sangeeta. They considered Sangeeta as their own business form. So this way we played our role, and in fact, the best compliment that I can remember from our customers is this. A couple from Madras, those days it was Madras. From Madras they came inquiring for a Chambai Vajinathan Bhagavatar's record. Fortunately, we had the record with us. Of course, it has to be mentioned that we specialized in classical records, devotional records, and of course, film records of Telugu, Tamil, Kannada, etc., etc. So we were able to satisfy the customer. We billed it, he paid the cash, and then he gave the information. He tried for a few months in Madras for this record, and he was not successful. He was unable to get the record. And when he checked with his regular dealer friend as to where he could get his record, I believe that dealer friend of his suggested the name Sangeeta, Bangalore, JC Road. So he came, so happy he was that he could get that record. So this is the best compliment I believe we received from our customers. So this way we developed our contacts. Though situated on JC Road, as I mentioned a little while ago, it was a jungle of automobile parts. So situated here in this part of the city, though we had our own problems, we didn't have any luxuries of modern life. We had to suffer the fact of sleeping in Sangeeta and eating in the nearby Kamath Hotel. With all that also, we could get this type of customer support. Customer support, it is wrong to mention. It is love of the customer, As I mentioned earlier, they felt it was their shop. So in this manner, it is not only Bangaloreans, it is not only people around JC Road, entire Bangalore city, not only Bangalore city, the border areas of Andhra Pradesh and Tamil Nadu like Hosur, etc. The customers regularly used to come to Sangeeta. So in this manner, we developed our business. I was born in a village, in a farmer's family. If I may use the language of a farmer, I may say I tilled the land, I raised the nursery, I manured the field, I made the transplantation. Up to this point, it was Narayan Reddy's. Once the transplantation was done, it was Subhash Chandra's job. He brought up the crop beautifully. Of course, he will mention about whatever he went through. So my job was only to till the land, to apply the manure, to raise the nursery, and to do the transplantation job for the entire field. After this, it is whatever has happened has been done by Subhash. The baton was passed on to him, and he has made it Sangeeta pioneer than leader today. The credit for this, of course, belongs to Subhash. Now I hand it over to Subhash. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. We'll come back to you for questions. Over to you, Subhash, sir.
Yes, Bala.
Yes, sir. So you started very early, and you have a lot of memories associated with right from school when you were working out of the gramophone company. And from where sir left, if you can take it forward and take that journey, and for one business to pivot, survive, be alive and be a leader 46 years down the line requires a lot of spirit. So I think he's laid the foundation. Now we'll want to hear from you on the journey from there, sir.
Yeah. Firstly, Bala, a big thank you to you to make this happen with all the three generations being part of this. See, days would pass, years would pass, and someday maybe my grandchildren will have a look at this YouTube video and think and talk and discuss about this whole thing. So you would be. You have to be thanked for all this.
I'm fortunate, sir. I'm fortunate. That's all. Thank you very much for giving that opportunity.
So you are the creator of all this. So thank you first of all.
Thank you.
And yes, firstly, I was 7 years old in 1974 when Sangeeta was born. As Dad just mentioned, Shri DPS Reddy, who at that time used to live in Madras, Chennai. In fact, his son, he's no more, but his son and their family, they continue to be Chennaiites. And Dad was actually working for their company called Vijay Home Appliances. He moved into Bangalore as the branch manager of Vijay. And then within a couple of months, when he moved into Bangalore, which is in 1972, I lost my mother at the age of 6. And then we started Sangeeta at the age of, in 1974. Dad started Sangeeta as a partnership firm with two of his friends. One, Mr. Subbareddy, Venkat Subbareddy, just now that he mentioned, who actually took care of me, and I lived in their house for about 4 years. And the other one was Mr. Nagireddy. In fact, he's a relative of us. And so with these partners come friends, Sangeeta was born in 1974. I was a 7-year-old boy, and just the other day I was going through the photographs, as a kid, blocking the photographer and disturbing the photos I'm seen in the photographs. Okay, from there, for me, I'm fortunate because for me, Sangeeta was not something that I had to come and take charge and learn the business. after doing my education or completing my education and graduation or whatever, for that matter, I did not go on to do my graduation at all. I'm a school dropout. So after being there in my uncle's place for about 3.5 years, that is Mr. Subbareddy, they were a partner, as I said. They vacated Bangalore. They moved out of Sangeeta. They wanted to shift back to Nellore from where they belong. And that was the time we were forced to stay in Sangeeta. Me and my dad, we both, in fact, stayed in Sangeeta. I must mention here that I have a sibling, my younger sister. One sister I have, she is younger than me, and she was 5 and I was 7 when we lost our mother. So she, being a girl child, was handed over to my grandmother back in Nellore, our native place. And my grandmother took care of her and me and dad. For us, home and everything was Sangeeta JC Road. So those are the days that really made me whatever I am today. And I had the good fortune of my friend, my dad, my teacher. Everything is my father who's sitting here. So for me, the entire world was only those 4 walls of Sangeeta. I would go to school, but back home, that is my home. And those days really made me whatever I am, as I said. So I used to do my homework sitting in Sangeeta. I used to attend to customers. I used to sell records. I used to sell cassettes when the cassettes came. Finally, today, therefore, I keep telling my son Chandu, we are the generation who have seen the widest, spectrum of what all could have happened in these 40 years. I don't think in the next 40 years so much would changes would happen, is what I keep telling him, or I keep mentioning to him. So we moved on from records to cassettes. Then dad was again asked to take charge of the job that he came here in Bangalore originally in 1972 by Shri DPS Reddy's, as the chairman for the Vijay Home Appliances. Dad was asked to take care of the Vijay Home Appliances. So he moved to that office, and I took complete charge of business, of Sangeeta's business at the age of 17. This was in the year 1982 January. I am born in 1966, so I was just 16 and a half. So as I said, I was a school dropout, and I took charge of business. The televisions had just come in. 1981 November, the television happened in Bangalore. We used to sell Solidaire and Standard, and later on we added BPL, Onida, Sony, Philips, a whole lot of televisions. So by then the records were out of vogue, cassettes were out of vogue after some time. In fact, in mid-80s or so, cassettes were out of vogue. We used to sell small home appliances, televisions, and then later on music systems, white goods, brown goods, refrigerators, washing machines, vacuum cleaners. I have done all this. Then somewhere in the late or mid 80s, I think I was fortunate to be appointed as a first retailer in the entire country to retail computers. So I remember I have sold computers which was much before the Pentium, the Zenith computers, Zenith 286, 386, 486. Those configurations are bizarre if you talk about the configuration there. So I had the good fortune of selling video games. Not the video games that today's generation knows. The Altos was the brand that with the joystick and all that. And in early 80s or mid 80s, I think I was selling Altos video games. The cartridge would cost about 550 rupees each cartridge, and the console itself would cost about 4,000 rupees. And those days, imagine 550 rupees and 4,000 rupees, hell a lot of cost. And if I were to take you back, 1970s, I was selling an LP record at 54 rupees. Today, if anybody and everybody can just go to YouTube and download whatever music they want at the click of a button. It's absolutely, so it's a different world that we lived in. We used to sell one movie, LP record would cost 54 rupees. So right from LPs to cassettes to home appliances to televisions to computers. Then probably the biggest change that happened was the fact that I decided to get associated with selling pagers. Paging, as you all know probably, was an industry that survived hardly about 4 years. So in 1995, when I decided to get associated with the Mobilink paging services, then after we bought the pagers, Mobilink took almost a good 6 months to start the service. We had paid up for the pagers, and the pagers were just could be used as a paperweight because the services had not started. And I was regretting whether it was a very bad decision that I took by signing up with this company. But as fate would have it, as luck would have it, I was very fortunate. In fact, we used to sell Akai televisions, and Akai went up nationally. Akai signed up with the same Mobilink paging service, and they used to offer a pager free with every Akai television. And every other TV dealer those days who had no clue about a pager would debundle the pager from the TV cost and sell the TV. So all the television retailers in Bangalore City those days, the big names of Girias, etc., whoever were there those days, all of them were sitting on a huge pile of pagers after this offer got ended by Akai. And they didn't know how to, actually get rid of them or how to convert them into money. So that was a big breakthrough because we bought those pagers at 2,000 rupees or 2,500 rupees from all of them, and we sold it at 8,000 rupees, which was the actual cost of the pager. So we used to sell about 300-400 pagers, and just for many of the youngsters who are connected, a pager those days, a one-line pager is a one-way communication. It used to cost 10,550 rupees, and a four-line pager used to cost 14,000 rupees. So, and just imagine sitting in Sangeeta, and pager was supposed to be sold through an office automation route, that is through cold calling. And Sangeeta was the only retailer who would sit in those four walls of JC Road, and whoever came in to buy a television or an iron or a mixie or a fan, I would end up selling them a pager along with the product that they came in to buy. So this way, we made a big name in paging and pager sales. And as I said, this was a big turning point since I was doing very well selling the one-way communication. It was very natural for me when mobile services started in 1996 November. I tried to approach the operator, but there was no way. They would not listen to us. They would not consider us seriously, and they would actually look down upon us, and they were not willing to sign up with Sangeeta. But then in 1997 April, we had the second operator. The first operator was JTM, who looked down upon me, and JTM got subsequently acquired by Airtel. JTM became Airtel. So the second operator that came in 97 April was Spice Telecom, and this was owned by Modi's. And when Spice Telecom actually happened in April 1997, and probably today, whatever we are, whatever Sangeeta is, I really I must credit that decision of mine that day to sign up with Spice Telecom and to get into the selling of SIM card services. Selling a SIM card those days was costing 4,856 rupees, and we used to sell like good 400 plus SIM cards in a month out of that one store. And then we started selling mobile phones because obviously I can't be just selling a SIM card. And everybody else in the city, or not only in the city, in the country those days, used to sell only just the SIM card and be done with it. They would suggest the customer to go over to the grey market, the national market, or the Burma bazaars of the city and pick up their grey market phone there. So here, what Sangeeta did was, we took the challenge. We, it looking back, I feel it is extreme daredevilry that we indulged in, because the mobile phone would cost the mobile phone with a bill and warranty. What Sangeeta tried to get into in the early days of business, because selling a SIM card was what everybody was doing. Selling a mobile phone, there was no proper showroom anywhere in the country. In fact, I was told by the Nokia MD of India, or the Ericsson, or the Siemens, or the Motorola of those days. Every company used to have hardly 5 to 10 employees in the country, and all of them, I remember very well, having told me that Sangeeta is the only retailer in the entire country to have a proper showroom and trying to sell a phone, a mobile phone with a bill and warranty. So when the norm was to buy a phone or to sell a phone without just to sell a SIM card and ask the customer to go and buy a phone with from a grey market, Sangeeta took this difficult task of swimming against the tide and convincing the customer, even though the cost difference was like 100% more. So obviously, you would agree with me, Bala, nobody would want to pay twice the cost for the same product. So we had to do something different. We had to do something very innovative. And as you mentioned, the first thing that we did was, one, buy in bulk from the brands. Take the big risk and thereby get the best of the pricing from them. And having bought, the next challenge is to sell them. So, and to sell them, the customer would definitely not pay double the price, right? So we had to do something. We were making good money on the SIM cards. In fact, mind-boggling sort of activation commissions. Those days, the operators used to pay us, and we would cross-subsidize and let go almost like 2/3 of the money that we would make on a SIM card, I would let go that much and subsidize the handset cost, thereby bringing down the difference between the grey market and the official phone. And also we introduced insurance and EMI. So overall, when you looked at it as a package for the customer, it hardly would cost about 3,000-4,000 rupees, or let me put it in percentage, about 30-40% costlier than a grey market phone. So these were early days, very tough days. And even the corporates those days were willing to buy a grey market phone. I used to be really shocked. How would a corporate buy a phone without a bill and warranty? Without a bill, how would they account it? But then, in fact, I myself cannot digest the fact that, how is it possible? But then I had a lot of corporates who were wanting me to arrange a grey market phone. So, but then those days, we took this difficult task, and we walked up to the insurance company, which was right opposite to our store on JC Road. We asked them to make an insurance for the phone, create a product. In fact, there was no insurance for a mobile itself was a new thing. So the insurance companies did not have anything called a mobile phone insurance. We asked them to create one, make one for us. So those early days, we had only theft. Subsequently, it changed avatars. In 2008, we got liquid damage, physical damage. And in 1997 itself, we got EMI for the first time. In fact, those days, there was no Bajaj Finance. Bajaj Finance is today the #1 finance company amongst the NBFCs. Those days, there used to be a company called GE Countrywide Finance. And since we were already associated with GE Countrywide Finance, selling televisions and white goods and brown goods, so we got them to finance the mobile phones in a very, in a trial manner, just as a trial basis. They tried it out for a very brief period of about 2 to 3 months, but then they subsequently pulled out. But I had a tie-up with Standard Chartered Bank and Citibank and ICICI Bank, and in fact, many people actually, think that the concept of the EMI schemes on mobile phones was introduced by Apples of the world and Samsungs of the world. But the fact is that Sangeeta, in those days of 97, 98, 99, 2000 itself, came with this concept of interest-free EMI. In fact, interest-free EMI happened much later. Initially, EMI as a concept, and then the insurance as a concept. All these things we did for the first time, and these got us customers from all over Bangalore city. And as I said, those days there was just the grey market, and then there was Sangeeta. There was nothing else. There was nothing else. So we did very well, and these brought laurels to us. These brought customers from far and beyond to us, and from then on we started expanding, and we rest is history. So today we are at across so many cities, across 650 stores, and we have been able to do a lot of good things. So yeah,
wonderful, sir. I think also definitely the insurance is probably first in the world, right? We don't have any documented evidence of mobile phone being insured anywhere. I think Sangeeta showed the way in that sense.
You are right, Bala. In fact, as I said, we walked into United India Insurance on JC Road, which was right opposite to Sangeeta, and I asked them for this insurance, and they said, no, mobile phone insurance, we have never heard of it. We only have insurance for stores or properties, or insurance for a car or whatever, but we don't have a mobile phone insurance. So I said, yes, you obviously would not have. This is a new product, so please make one for me. So we got that. Initially, the FIR was compulsory. Subsequently, we moved on from United India to Bajaj Alliance to New India Assurance. Then subsequently, we signed up in 2008 with a company based out of London, whose name is called as, it was a very peculiar name, EIP, everythingispossible.com was the name of their company, EIP.com. So, and they said, in fact, they were a company who were a specialist only in mobile phone insurance, and they were operational in about 26 countries by then, insuring only mobile phones, nothing else. And when we approached them, in fact, we sent brokers. We sent two people from here. They flew out of India. They met them in London in their office, and they eventually got that gentleman, the owner of that company, into India. He, in fact, I remember very well. He was going gaga about the Kingfisher Airlines. He was saying, I've traveled all over the world. I've traveled 20, I'm operational in 26 countries, but I've never seen an airline like Kingfisher. Wow, what a service, is what I remember those words from, the owner of EIP. So 2008, we did this, unbelievable thing in insurance, which is a claim settlement in 15 minutes is what they were doing in those 26 countries. So I was shocked to hear how would an insurance claim get settled in 15 minutes. First of all, in our experience since 1997, whatever insurance we ran till then, it used to take months, and those days the customers also never used to complain because nobody else would offer an insurance. So they would patiently wait. And finally, some claims would get settled, and some claims would get rejected, and all that. But when we signed up with this insurance company called EIP, and they had since a foreign company could not transact insurance business in India, at that time Future Generally was just getting started in India. So we had Future Generally as an Indian partner, and we started off with Future Generally and backed by the reinsurer in the form of EIP. And the liquid damage, physical damage, and theft, and no FIR required, and 90% claim settlement, just 10% depreciation within 90 days. So this was unheard of. This was amazing and unbelievable, and absolutely no rejections, and claim settlement. In fact, they insisted that they should do the same 15-minute claim settlement like in the rest of the 26 countries. But we said, oh my God, that will really be too much to digest. So we said, let's keep it as 72 hours. So we advertised, full page ads in 2008 saying no conditions, and there was no FIR required for theft also. Just an acknowledgement from the police would do. And if you break the phone, no questions asked. We would just get the phone fixed, or we would give him a new phone. Just the 10% depreciation, as I said. And even if you drop in water, no questions asked. So this was amazing. This was unheard of in India. And as you rightly said, there is no document to say that we were the first ones, but indeed we were the first ones. And unfortunately, we did not patent it. Probably, I don't know if it was possible. We should have patented it. There were, as you know, there are so many mobile insurance companies that came in. Syska, the recent one, the Apps Daily, which landed into some trouble. Then there are so many. There are so many today. Even everyone tried, and I would probably assume that almost nobody's offering a mobile phone insurance as we speak today. Sangeeta is the only one. And then what we did. So, okay, let me tell you. So how could we do this? The condition was that every phone that we sold, 3.5% was the premium. Can you believe it, Bala? And 3.5% was the premium. So my insurance brokers actually came back from London disheartened, saying that I think this deal is not going through because 3.5% is too much of money. But I told them, no, let me go ahead. Dekha jayega. Kya hota hai? I don't mind. We'll start. So we started paying 3.5% premium, and this was not optional. This was for the entire turnover what Sangeeta would do. So in 2008, I remember we would cut a check of 25 lakh rupees as premium to the insurance broking company, would come and take it on the first of the month, and by around 15th or 20th, they would have run out of the premium because every day we would keep sharing the data with them. And they would keep taking the money from deducting the premium from the TP of 25 lakhs. So we started with around 35-40 lakhs per month, and it went on to a high of about 7 crores per annum. And in fact, that is when, in fact, in 2012 or 2013, we had a CFO who came on board in Sangeeta. Till then, we never had a CFO. The first thing that the CFO did was, he said, nothing doing. I'll not allow this insurance to be run like this. This is criminal to be paying 7 crores premium to an insurance company and running this. Sorry, I'm stopping this. I'm going to stop. This is what, that was his first major decision as soon as he came on board. And thereafter, I really don't know how, looking back, paying 7 crores per annum, and with the size of business, whatever we had then in 2012, see, I can't digest even if I think myself, but we did some crazy and wild things like that. And from then, then in 2013, 14, 15, then the online companies came and hit us. Then it was price and nothing but price. And we could just not match the price being offered by Flipkarts and Amazons. So for the first time in the history of Sangeeta, in 14-15, we had a dip in our turnover top line. In 15-16, we had a further dip. And that was where I came with this concept of, and as I said, we didn't have this insurance over a period of time that we had built. And there was a good reason for us to pull out of insurance also. Apart from the cost that you are paying, the social media had started becoming very active, and the 5% or less than 5% claims that used to by then get rejected, those customers would make a big scene, big fuss all over the social media. All the 95% of the customers who would be bewildered and shocked pleasantly to get their claims settled in a jiffy, they would not go and tell the world, right? They would just express their dearest thanks to us and walk out. In fact, we have some brilliant stories. We have customers who have come and distributed sweets in the stores. In fact, I remember very well, we had one customer who brought his Mercedes Benz to our office and said, please insure my Merc. Because because I never believed in insurance. And I got a Nokia communicator from you. And I had a burglary at home. My Nokia communicator and laptop and my Rado watch and everything got burgled. But within 3 days, you have claimed my Nokia communicator money. I have got back. I have got a new communicator which, by paying 10% of the cost. So for the first time in my life, I am having to believe the insurance. So I want you to renew my Mercedes-Benz car. Take the check. This is the premium. Please fill up. So we had such crazy things happening. We had customers who would break their phones into some 5-6 pieces and walk in with in a very apologetic tone. They would say, "I'm sorry. We were told that this phone comes with damage protection, but then my daughter dropped it from the 10th floor of the apartment. I know I don't think I'll get the claim, but since you said, I just wanted to check it out." In a very sort of apologetic or almost taking it for granted that they would not get their claim. They would walk in and they would walk out with a brand new phone. So all these things have actually, they obviously, if you want to do things in a right trial, in a right way, it takes a longer time, right? The shortcuts would be risky, but shortcuts would take you to the destination if you reach the destination faster. But in our case, it took a long time and a lot of money, as I told you, in the form of premium, crores of rupees. As I said, we hit a high of 7 crores per year. As I said, I repeat, as premium, and my CFO had to pull out the plug. And then the online happened. The online guys came down on the pricing. We all know that how.
So before that, during the 1990s and the 2000s, like Sangeeta went from few stores to a huge expansion. So during that stage, I think probably you were opening a store every week. Can you take us through that period when you were like going through this from tens to like hundreds number of stores across most states?
Yeah. So 1997 is when mobile happened. 2002 was our when we opened our second store. So 2002, when we opened our second store in Indiranagar, Bangalore, we had Javagal Srinath who came and inaugurated that store. And this was called as a Samsung Mobile Preferred Partner. This was India's first Samsung Mobile Preferred Partner, what you call today as the Samsung Cafe. The first avatar of Samsung Cafe, it was called as Samsung Mobile Preferred Partner. Then the next store was Jayanagar. Just then, if you remember, Bala, the third and fourth operators got the licenses. Initially, it was only 2 operators, Airtel and Spice. JTM, which became Airtel, and then Spice Telecom, both were there. But in 2002 or 3, I think 2002, Hutch came. Pan India, Hutch was the third operator. Then the fourth operator was a CDMA operator. So India's first Hutch shop was Sangeeta. Sangeeta meaning it was not branded Sangeeta, obviously, because they don't allow you to call it as Sangeeta. It was called the Hutch shop. In fact, they used to be called as Orange in Mumbai. They used to be called as Modi Telstra in Kolkata. They used to be called by different names till then. And in 2002, they decided to have a common brand name called Hutch. So we were the first Hutch shop in the country. This was Jayanagar 4th block store. This was the third store. And then we had the fourth store was the Forum Mall of Koramangala. In fact, those days, I used to, when we opened the second store, I used to have a lot of debate at home. Dad used to say, you're doing very well. Why should you open the second store? And with great difficulty, we convinced him. And since that second store happened to be in our own property, that is the only. In fact, today, as out of the 650 stores, we have 649 landlords, and only that one store, Indiranagar, is our own building. So since it was our own building, I could convince father. But then he used to say, beyond a point, what for is money? You need to spend quality time with your family. and there is the limit to it. So you're doing very well in JC Road, and now you have opened Indira Nagar. So be done with it. But again, I had to convince him, and I opened a hut shop in Jayanagar. Then, as I said, the fourth store was Forum Mall, and by then I had never heard the word called mall. We didn't know what a mall, M-A-L-L mall, what does it mean? I just didn't know. And one fine day, one gentleman walked in, and he said, we are launching South India's first mall, and that's happening in Koramangala, and we want Sangeeta to be part of that mall. And I asked him, what is the mall? He said, please visit our office in Infantry Road, and we will take you through. And then we went there, and then he took us through. He said the cars and the vehicles would come and get parked in the first floor, second floor, third floor. This was all like, you know, it was like a fantasy for us. You know, we had never heard of such a thing. In 2002, I think this happened. Finally, the store got opened in 2003. So these were the first 4 stores. And those days, and believe me, Bala, I did not tell Dad, I did not tell anybody at home when I signed that mall, because I knew for sure they would not like it. And we were having a lot of apprehensions. For the first time, I'm opening a store in the 2nd floor. My God, who will come to 2nd floor to buy a phone? But then, you know, Forum Mall itself went on to become a big hit, Koramangala Forum. And then in 2005, we launched ourselves in Hyderabad. That was the first expansion beyond Karnataka. By then we had opened in Mysore and Mangalore, but opening Hyderabad, getting out of our comfort zone of Karnataka was a very, very big move. And you know, we had a film heroine, Charmi, who came and inaugurated our Banjara Hills store. On the same day, we launched three stores. And in 2007, you know, by then, you know, every year we would discuss at home, and of course not at home. Dad was not very keen. I had to convince him, but in the office we would discuss that it is time for us to enter into Tamil Nadu, but it would get postponed. So from 2005, finally 2007 December, we launched 10 stores in Chennai on a single day, and we had the great Suhasini Maniratnam do the honors at Anna Nagar, you know, and we had a press conference in Taj announcing all the 10 stores. That was in 2007. But Bala, as you mentioned, opening a store every week, that happened only in the last 3 years. I must tell you, that happened only in the last 3 years. We have opened almost like 10 stores every month. In fact, not one store a week. It is 10 stores a month.
10 stores a month.
10 stores a month.
2.5 stores a week. Yeah.
Sorry.
Almost 2.5 stores a week. So.
Yeah. So this every 10 days, you know, 10 stores a month. Yeah, 10 stores a month. So 120 stores a year. In the last 3 years, we have opened 300 plus. May not be exactly 360, but around 300 plus stores in the last 3 years we opened. And I must tell you, see, opening a store is one thing. And as you all know, you know, today, getting the right location and getting the right staff, and mobile as a product category is so small. It can be, you know, some customer can whack it, some staff could steal it, and burglaries is one thing that you know, more than the gold showrooms. I think we had a spate of burglaries happening all over the country a few years ago, of mostly the mobile showrooms. So even Sangeeta was not spared. We had quite a number of burglaries that took place. So what I'm trying to tell you is, you know, if you ask me, have you not done any mistakes, or was it very smooth? Certainly not. We have had more than our share of problems, but we just kept moving ahead. That extraordinary optimism, that extraordinary belief in myself, and the more than myself, probably the belief in the industry called mobile industry. That made me to just keep going. And even as we speak today, in fact, we are not actually disturbed mentally because of COVID. In fact, we are looking at a opportunity, and we are looking at can we really beat that record what we have set ourselves? Of course, it probably sometimes doing too much is bad, but we just want this COVID to probably as soon as we are in a position to travel. Today most of the travel is not being allowed within the company. Also, we don't want the boys to travel. But once things settle down, even this financial year, we are very gung-ho about expansion. We are not holding ourselves back, Bala. And I must tell you something that I missed is in 2002, we also started a distribution company. We became the Sony Ericsson distributors in the name of, many people don't know this because Sangeeta is a retail brand. And we had another company which was behind the scenes, which is Anu Distributors. So we became a mobile distributor. Then from Sony Ericsson distribution, we went on to become a Spice, the first Indian brand. We became a distributor for Spice Mobiles. Then we became a distributor for Micromax Mobiles for entire South India, super distributor for Micromax Mobiles. Then we launched, we didn't keep quiet there. In 2000, we launched our own brand of mobile called Eurotel. This was a CDMA. As I told you, CDMA, everybody told me in 2002, probably GSM will take a hit and CDMA will take off in a big way because all over Japan, all over Korea, all over America, those days, CDMA technology was ruling and incoming was free in CDMA. Therefore, we thought that, in fact, the pundits were talking about the GSM, falling by the wayside, the CDMA taking off in a big way. So we put our hands in CDMA. Of course, that was a bad experience. Instead of, since we were already as a retailer in the name of Sangeeta, since we were already there as a distribution company in the name of Anu Distributors, we floated a company, signed up with a company in Taiwan, got the phones manufactured, the CDMA phones manufactured in Taiwan with a Qualcomm chipset, and got it approved by Tata Indicom, who was the CDMA operator. Tata and Reliance launched in 2002. So we offered our phone. In fact, when Tata launched their CDMA services in India in 2002, they launched with 3 models: one LG, one Kyocera, which was a Japanese company which is no longer there, and the third one was our brand called Eurotel. So we did things ahead of time. Sometimes timing is very important, and doing things ahead of time can cost you dearly. And that is what happened to us. Eurotel was not a great experience because CDMA did not take off the way it was expected to take off. And within no time, we had to shut shop with regards to Eurotel after running it for about 1.5 years. And then we also indulged in parallel imports, proper imports. Because Nokia used to have an 80% market share. Since we already had an import license and since we were already exposed to Singapore, Hong Kong, Dubai markets in the form of our Eurotel experience, so we got into imports of Nokia phones, and we were the darling of all the retailers because those days Nokia would give next to nothing margins, and I would import Nokia and give them 10 to 15% cheaper than the Nokia India Limited stocks with the same 1-year warranty. With all the the same brand Nokia, the same model. So we were the darling of all the Nokia retailers. In fact, many Nokia priority dealers would silently underneath, hush hush karke, they would buy Nokia stocks from us. So 2002 that way was a very eventful year after 1997. Because we started our distribution, we started the Hutch shop, we expanded for the first time into 2nd and 3rd stores, and we started our own brand of CDMA food.
Oh,
Things
that's a
happened.
lot to handle in 1 year.
Yeah, so many things happened in 2002 actually.
So I'll also bring Chandu in at this point of time. He's been little bit silent. So Chandu, I think grandfather laid the foundation, and already Subhash sir has built a skyscraper now. So and you are like coming in at a time when there's like whole change of landscape, right? I mean, the physical stores, now you have the online world as well, and the whole consumer paradigm is changing. So Chandu, what's in store? What are your thoughts? First, how did you feel coming into the family business, and when you entered, did dad force you, or like you wanted to get into Sangeeta? So tell us a little bit about you Chandu.
Thank you so much, Bala. Like, first thing is, yes, this is going to be a memorable session for us, for all three of us participating. The first one was the South India Retailers Awards. I forgot the short form for that, but in Bangalore. That was very eventful for us because all three of us shared the stage and picked up an award. And this is the second time. How is it coming into the family business? It's natural. It's very, very natural for me because I never had any other thoughts, or I don't think I'm made for anything else. I'm made only for this. At a very young age, definitely not as young as dad was brought into business. But for me, it was a little more later. But was always we had business talks at home, and the decision making was a lot of our family members are part of the business. You could have this session could have as well been 3 generations, but 4 people. My others, my sister, my cousin, dad's own sister's daughter. She's very well as much as me part of the business. She's just not here today, or we would have definitely joined her in as well. So she takes care of the Karnataka business. She takes care of the learning and development, and she takes care of the certain other, customer facing, customer relationship. And I take care of the online and the Tamil Nadu business I've just taken over recently. There's a lot to do in Tamil Nadu. We are still probably 100 odd stores in Tamil Nadu versus 300 or almost 300 stores in Karnataka, and about 220 stores in AP and TL as well. So there's a lot to do in TN. Coming to the business was very natural.
And how do you see now the landscape changing? And you've bought in a lot of digital transformation. So I know every time me and Subhash sir end up talking something about online or anything regarding technology, he'll say, "Wait, I'll put Chandu online. Wait, I'll put Chandu online." So I know he's been giving you a lot of responsibility in that. So where do you see the market going, Chandu, and where do you see Sangeeta now poised to take it forward?
Yeah, I think Dad said one thing. Our generation has seen from this end of the spectrum to the other end of the spectrum. I would actually say, no, sir. In our age, probably we're seeing no mobile. To probably you'll see whatnot. You've seen COVID. You've seen more than enough for just 1 year in 2020. You'll see next level technologies coming up. People going into space, and you just can't imagine all these kind of things would come up. So in the same line, I'd say speaking about history is easy, but definitely making that history was not for them. But my end, both are difficult. Even speaking about the future is tough. Making future and becoming tomorrow's history is even more tough. So what is in store for it to come? Technology is the answer for everything. For everything, it's technology. Even how do you strengthen retail? Technology is the answer. Retailers, one of the biggest things that hit retail, of course, was online. Every other battle throughout generations, retailers have won. Sangeeta has won. Online too, we have survived, but many of the others have not been able to, especially during the 14, 15 and 16, during that phase of the online injection, it was very difficult for many people to survive and they collapsed. We have been here. But going forward too, now the COVID has come again. Certain people feel that buying online is probably better now, safer now than going into the store. Actually, more than both of these things, buying from a hyperlocal website, I would say not just a mobile phone, but anybody who has both a marriage of online as well as offline is the best person to buy if you are concerned about safety. On another hand, we can talk about Corona and this entire situation. Entire webinar can become only that as a topic. Corona is going to come to at least 50% of the population. It's going to come. It's here to stay, and models are going to change. And as we unlock the COVID, again models are going to change. As you rightly said, we thought this would be here for 2 to 3 months, and we didn't probably anticipate it. Most of us did not anticipate. Even the biggies did not. Many of the biggies did not anticipate it as much as how it would impact our businesses. And even further, even the unlock stage also you have to anticipate. As you unlock COVID and normalcy comes, it is not that it's going to go back to exactly how your recent history and the recent memory has been. It's not exactly like that. Consumer shopping trends are here. The change is here to stay. And the change is again constant during the unlock. So as we unlock, the customer preferences, how they would like to do things is something we have to tackle. And again, answer is technology. We have brought in, so hyperlocal, why shop from a hyperlocal who has both the online and the offline presence versus a retail store or the online only. Online only is the worst because the product hand transfer, hand change is, there are many hands that change when you buy on Amazon. We sell on Amazon and Flipkart as well. And it comes from the store to the head office, to the warehouse by one person, get packed by a different person, picked up by the courier company, goes to the sorting center. From there, it goes into the cargo or the freight. From there, again, it is unloaded by another person and goes to the sorting center near the customer point. And then you have the last mile delivery. At least you have about 12 hands changing there. Whereas when you order from a hyperlocal, you're more likely to get a product that is picked, built, packed, and delivered by the same person. So this is one of the advantages if somebody is concerned about that. And answers to future, or I would actually like to speak a little more about what made us what we are today. Even before we speak about the future, the tendency is that as soon as the mic comes to me, I have to think about what I'm going to do next. But what has made us and how we have come till thus far holds the seed or the recipe to continue that. Many of the times you have to kind of at least have traits of that. There are many strengths you have to just take on. So one of the biggest strengths, I would say, that Dad and Granddad have covered most of the points, but one of the things is we have localization. So Granddad, having worked in 3 places, he knows he has a strong command on language. Even to date, many of the edits, the draft of if you have to get a PR article written, press release to be done, the final draft goes to the chairman, and he's the one who has to kind of proofread it once for us. Or any marketing campaign, he's the marketing brain behind it. The tagline, pioneer then, leader now. To date, many of my friends or even people younger than me, 5 years, 6 years younger than me, say, that's a very nice line. That's a very unique line. And that was coined in 1974, not today, not in 2019, as long it goes back there. So from a marketing brain to localization, these two coupled, to each market, we deliver what those customers need. Our positioning too slightly changes, though the brand remains the same. We have same brand ambassador for all the places. Our store feel slightly, our positioning changes. And the second strength is that we decentralize and we empower people a lot. Another strength that I would say with my father is that he trusts people. Many a time we see that a lot of communities or certain communities, they don't trust people. They like to sit there and do the business 100% themselves. The first motivation speaker that we brought to Sangeeta to address our staff, we were a very small team. Even then, father's thoughts were quite big. We need a motivational speaker. We need somebody to come and address. I was a little kid there, but then I felt, I think you're a good enough motivational speaker. I don't think you need anybody else. But then he felt, no, this is required. And we brought a really big man there, a person called Rakesh Jain. So he himself being Jain himself, he said, my community, they like to sit in one place and they like to handle the cash. They don't trust. So that is on the other end of the spectrum. On the other hand, for my father, he trusts people a lot. He gives them the artillery and they achieve as well. See, to one level, it was our success, our personal being there and doing things. But beyond that, it's about putting the right people in the right place. From now, definitely that holds, that part of it becomes stronger and stronger about putting the right person in the spot than about us doing it ourselves. So that is what has gone right for us, apart from many other things that father and grandfather said.
Thanks, Sandhu. You nicely put it, and you see a lot of potential for some.
And another thing was, another thing is the altitude of thinking for my father is something that I've seen, which I try to inculcate, is that you have to be able to go right to the grassroots level and dig deeper into every issue and find the root cause. At the same time, quickly wrap up and come back into thinking big and thinking what's next. So that's something that I've seen, and it's more of many times I see that he does things out of gut feel. After analyzing all the data, after going through all the things, the result might say that no, you should not go for this. But I've seen him employ his gut there. It could be the 7 crores premium that he paid. Anybody in the right state of mind would have said, no, what are you saying for the stores that you have? How can you do it? But probably, what we call today 6-hat view or something, he employed it that time and thought, okay, fine. If I go into this, the immediate result might be negative. But as a long-term result, what is it going to happen? It opened up the entire insurance market for the entire country. We brought it. You asked, were you the first one to coin it in the entire world? Maybe not. But in India, who brought it first? Certainly it was us. So it was after we brought it here, it just blew up and many people did it. Or it could be that we owned a cricket team. I don't know if you know about this. We owned a cricket team in Karnataka. It was called Karnataka Premier League. Based exactly on the IPL model, but at a state level, district-wise. Many states did it, but probably the most successful was Karnataka. And it ran well for the first 4 years, and we were part of it for the first 2 to 3 years. And we paid a huge sum there as a franchisee fee as well. And we had about 100 odd stores then in Karnataka, and we thought, cricket and movies, these are the only things that run the nation, and which other thing is a statewide event apart from cricket. So we had a team that Sangeeta owned. It could be that, or we brought something like an air ambulance, completely unconnected to the mobile business. Every person who bought a mobile phone was given air ambulance service in cases of emergency. There were other reasons because of the partners and the regulations of the government that we discontinued it. But otherwise, we have the heart always to do such things. So it was always doing bizarre things. And another real big factor that had a play in our lives is that we work with Chinese companies and we work with MNCs. More than Chinese, they work hard. Given all the other flack and the negativity that there is right now that's surrounding us, there's one thing about them that they work really hard. So we've kind of rubbed shoulders with such kind of people, and the MNCs have brought some kind of processes with us. Being in Bangalore has given us a lot of opportunities. Yeah.
I think, Bala,
Yeah, sir.
if you may allow, since we are running out of time,
Yeah.
it'll be a big failure if we don't take the rest of the family members, because in fact my sister is part of the office, part of the business. She heads HR and human relations and audit and all those things. Then my wife plays a very critical and a very important role. She gets into things where none of us get into, things like aging, things like demo phones. She gets into areas where there is leakage of revenues. Generally, I think ladies are very good at these things, so she gets into such areas.
They should join. If they are there, they should join. If they are there, they should join.
No, she is not here. She is at home today. In fact, normally she's in office. In fact, we have just asked her to stay home because she had been to Hyderabad and she's on quarantine right now. Otherwise, she would have definitely been here. And as Chandu mentioned, Nivedita, my niece, my sister's daughter, who just got married in December, she is a very capable lady now. In fact, she's a girl. She's just 25 years, but then she's just married. So she handles, as Chandu mentioned, the learning and development to the business. She heads the business for Karnataka. Karnataka is the largest region, and she heads the customer care. And now her younger sister also, she's in her final leg of college. She would join the company. Nivedita's husband, Sumant, the Mapala, wheat Mapala. So he has also joined us as the head of admin in the company. So it's a truly family-run business. Having said that, we have Gautam. In fact, Gautam is my nephew. He heads buying and all relationships with all these these cashback programs, the EMI programs, and all these things. So he heads that, and so the entire family is part of it. Having said that, we also have professionals. I have Anil Prabhas, who is my dearest friend, who joined me in 2007. He used to be in hospitality and airline ticketing. So he joined me. He heads Andhra and Telangana business. Then Satish is the backbone. He's the finance guy. He's a true professional. He's the CFO of the company. He joined us in 2012. So he was the one who pulled up
insurance.
And Gautam joined me in 2002. And for a brief while, he was out of the company. He worked in Metro Cash and Carry. He worked in Motorola. He worked in Uninor. And after seeing getting a little bit of experience outside of Sangeeta, he is back for good. And he had a very important role in Sangeeta, as buying is a very important thing. So it's a truly a right combination of, though in terms of names, it's only one Satish as a professional, but then we run things, we run the business in a very nice way, in a very transparent way, very ethical way. And in fact, I've heard that very few companies survive for 46 years. But the way, I trust that the future generations, in fact, Chandu got married recently, as you know, in February. Chandu, my son, got married recently. And our daughter in the home, Ramya, daughter-in-law, she is already, she's running a chain of restaurants. And sooner than later, she will start playing a role in Sangeeta, a big role, I'm sure. We have the right mix of professionals and the family, and the entire family is part of the business. Today, as we speak, we are, as you rightly said, we are 650 stores. We are there in Varanasi, we are there in Ahmedabad, and as many people who on this show, on this webinar, they may want to know all our stores, excepting Varanasi and Ahmedabad, are company-owned, company-operated stores. It is very, very rare that any organization runs more than 600 stores by themselves. It drains you so much and it is, you just have no other life. I'm sure you will agree with me, Bala.
Absolutely, sir.
We 24 hours, even when you are sleeping, it is Sangeeta going on in your mind. So, but I am fortunate, I must tell, that I have got a great team with us, and we have been very fortunate to have come across really, really great guys who have joined us in our journey, and we have been doing well, and we are last year we were just short of 2,000 crores, and this one thing called franchisee model, which is rolled out in Varanasi and Ahmedabad. This is one thing that we have not yet fully got it right. And I'm sure we are on the verge of getting it right. Varanasi has started making profits right now. And I'm sure our Varanasi franchisee, Mr. Ashutosh, is also online. My final goal in life is to get the right mix of online, that is e-commerce, Sangeeta's e-commerce, sangeetamobiles.com. In fact, recently I have set an ambitious, very ambitious target of achieving 1,000 numbers a day on sangeetamobiles.com. That is the goal given to all our team members. So, in fact, the time frame given to them is very short. Right now, we are not even achieving 100 numbers a day, but they have to get to 1,000 numbers a day within the next 30 days. In fact, not even 30 days, within the next 20 days. And I have showed them the way to do it, and we are very sure we will achieve that. And my life's ambition is to take this company go public. My life's ambition is to have Sangeeta pan-India, and there is no reason why we will not do that. I'm sure Chandu, Nivedita, and Ramya and Sumant will take this legacy forward. And my dad has gone through all the difficulties in life. He lost his mother at the age of 5. He lost his wife, the life partner, at the age of 29, and he has sacrificed his life for our sake. He has built this a strong foundation and given us such values that make it very easy and gives us the extreme confidence and the exuberance to take it forward and make it really, really big. Many people question, oh my God, how are you able to survive in front of Amazons and Flipkarts? Oh my God, that too in a mobile retail industry. Mobile is the highest sold category on the online, and especially with the COVID, what is going to happen are the frequent questions that I come across whenever I introduce myself to a stranger and give my business card. But then, probably well-wishers like you and all the good wishes of friends and well-wishers and a great team that we have got, we have been able to, move along very successfully. Not just move along, in fact, we have been making giant strides, and we have always been a profitable company for the people who are logged on and for the benefit of everyone. We are 100% family-owned business. We have not diluted a single share yet, and I might, it might not be an exaggeration to say we are almost a zero debt company, I can say, except for the bank guarantees that we have. So, though you have not asked me to spell out all these things, I want to spell out all these things just to give the confidence to the youngsters who are wanting to know, or my own family members, that is Sangeeta's extended family, staff, etc. I'm sure Sangeeta is a very open book. There's nothing new that they are getting to know here through this webinar. Everything is openly discussed. We have no secrets at all. So that's it from my side. Now it's over to you, Bala. And yes, we also did the latest value-added services. I forgot to mention in 2015 when Amazon and Flipkart were really pounding on us, came down, and we were bleeding. And as I said, we our top lines and bottom lines were impacted very badly. That was the time when we launched this price drop protection, which is a very, very powerful tool. So mobile phone as an industry, as a category, is a product where every other day there's a price drop. So we have a 30-day price drop protection. So the customer need not get to know about a price drop. We will inform the customer. We will call him and refund the money. Till date, we have refunded close to 32 crores. I will just read out the exact number. And we also have damage protection. With now, there is no more insurance, as I mentioned. Damage protection is in-house. We call it as assurance. So you drop it in water or you break it into 10 pieces. You get no paperwork, no waiting, no rejection. Exactly like the London man in 2008 talked about it. We are giving claim settlement over the counter in flat 15 minutes. Absolutely zero paperwork, absolutely zero rejections. So you drop it in water or you drop it into 10 pieces, break it into 10 pieces, no questions asked, you get a brand new phone. You pay half, I pay half. So that's what we do. The customer pays half is what we tell him. So the customer is more than happy. And on top of it, we have recently, tied up with a third party to provide a service called 6-month screen replacement. So we do a pickup and a drop anywhere in the country. Once you have bought a phone from Sangeeta, whether be it on online or in the store, if you drop the phone, generally what breaks is the display. And the display costs about 30 to 35% of the cost of the phone. So you get absolutely free display. The display is replaced. The phone is actually picked up from your phone. All you have to do is log into an app and mention your details, and within 24 hours there is a person at your doorstep to pick up the phone, drop it in the respective service center, get the display replaced by the authorized brand service center, and drop it back to you. So this is something which we started about 1.5 years ago, and more than 10,000 customers have already got the benefit of this. So let me just read out the exact numbers for the benefit of everyone. Yes, you can go ahead, Bala, in the meanwhile.
Yeah, sure, sir. So I think there are a lot of questions that have come in. So we had planned for 6:30. Do you mind if we can extend it for 15 minutes?
I'm okay.
I would like to hear from the audience as well. If you want to extend it for 15 minutes, you can type yes. So we will continue with some questions so that we can make use of the time when all three. Yeah, I think it's a resounding.
I'm ready with the numbers. In fact, if the camera could take it.
Yes.
These are the numbers. These are the numbers. PP is price protection, DP is damage protection, and SP is screen protection, PP is theft protection. So we have given away 31 crores 67 lakhs as of 30th June, and more than 3,09,000 customers have benefited from it. 17,000 customers have broken their phone, and we have shelled out 11.63 crores. And 11,000 customers in the just about 1.5 year that we started the screen replacement. 6.67 crores is the money that we have paid out as display cost. So overall, we have crossed 50 crores, 64 lakhs is the money that we have given out. I'm sorry. Over to you. All the questions. I'm ready. We are all ready for
31 crores as price protection is definitely for sure number one in the industry, sir. From what you have spoken, I think it's very clear for us that there are three, I would say whatever secrets of success or formula. One is your passion that you bring to the table. I think every time we come and meet you, there is an injection of energy that is gone onto us, that passion of entrepreneurship and risk taking. So probably you've taken so much of risk that we can't imagine. And the second is persistence. When all this online came and all that, many players have wound up, sir. But Sangeeta is flying high and it's also growing. So that's kudos to your persistence. And third is your innovation, always keeping on coming up with these new ideas. So at this point of time, you've done so much in this last 20 years. I'd like to ask Sri Narayan, sir, what he thinks about his son's achievements and what he thinks about you and what is his message for you and Chandu. Maybe many things you don't tell us family, but over here you can maybe share, sir.
You can't tell us in the home. You can do it in the webinar.
See, as I said, I made the beginning. I did a little job, paid work, and handed it over to Subhash. And see, which father will not feel happy, will not feel thrilled, will not feel like jumping and touching the sky when his son overtakes him. My son has not just overtaken me; he has made me look a pygmy. I am not saying this word pygmy about myself with any regret, with any negative feeling. I am proud. I am proud. My chest pumps up to find that my son has made me look a pygmy. Yes.
I think I hardly have any words because I think it's more of an emotion. That's the beauty part in entrepreneurship and in family business, because there is so many things that you carry on as generation. I am sure your foundation, Chandu, will be able to build on much more larger. I just have a few questions that we also want to kind of ask you. So, Subhash sir, you started almost very early and single store, and now entrepreneurship is very difficult and very challenging, and times are very different. So for entrepreneurs starting off now, what would be your advice?
See, first thing is to believe in yourself. Second thing is to, you have the advantage of technology, the assistance of technology for everything and anything. You have a lot of people. If you have a brilliant idea, you have many people to bet their money on you. So believe in yourself and believe in your gut, and there is no shortcut to success. So you will have to slog it out. Of course, slog it out is an old-fashioned word. Today's generation, I don't think slog it out is the right word. You have to be smart, is what they say. But at least in my generation, at least in my life, I believe that we should slog it out. I may not be liked by the youngsters, but that's what I believe.
Sir, in terms of you said you're balancing family and professionals, right? And you're also saying there is a dream to go IPO and all that. So as you transition, so one of the topics that we are addressing today is not many family run businesses, not many promoter driven businesses make a jump above 100 crores, right? And some point of time, certain things stop the growth. But you are a case which have broken the shackles and gone away. So what are your thoughts that promoters should do, entrepreneurs of businesses that are reaching 100 crores, reaching a stagnation should do to move to the next level, sir?
Well, Bala, see, we are in a country, India, where there is a lot of red tape, there's a lot of bureaucracy, there's a lot of harassment from the departments. Sorry, I'm not trying to say everything negative, but these are realities. But and when you get faced with all these problems, the tendency as an entrepreneur would be, hey, what is the point in following the rules? What is the point in following all the labor rules, paying the professional tax, paying the ESI, paying the PF, and still get, some labor officer will come and figure you? Or what is the point in paying all the GSTs and the income taxes, the advance taxes, everything right? I think let us look for a shortcut. Where all can I save tax? Is something which, we should not, get lost in. Today, empowerment, today, thanks to technology, the fraud element to a large extent is controllable. So we need to just, believe in our people, in our teams, and we need to avoid the shortcuts. We need to, bear with these difficulties of all these things. And I forgot. I'm sorry. What was the question, Bala? I lost my place.
Make the transition from a small promoter-driven company to a large.
Probably. See, I think I have mentioned you last time. See, this many of the people who have logged in are from the industry, so they would know the Nokia charger issue, the Supreme Court issue, when we had VAT and phone was at 4%, charger was at 14%, and commercial tax pulled out the last 10 years of phone sale, and they started charging us 14% plus penalty plus interest for the last 10 years. See, still those cases are going on with the respective commercial taxes in Telangana, in Karnataka, in these two states especially. Fortunately, Tamil Nadu was at 14.5% on phones also, so we are not affected. So not just Sangeeta, everybody were affected. So generally, what happens is, for no fault of yours, if you are harassed by the department, you try to take shortcuts. So the only secret, there's no secret. The fact that today we have been able to transition from a small business to a large organization is because we have set processes and we have followed. We have not taken shortcuts. Probably, I think that is the only thing. I think that's one of the main things.
Okay. So at this point, I'd like to take your permission for a couple of minutes to share about RISE program that's coming up as well, sir. So with your permission, if I may share it to the benefit of the audience. So we have I hope you can see the screen. So we have the Native Brands to Super Brands Masterclass coming up. That's a 2-day program, certificate program on Friday and Saturday. It's 3 to 6 p.m. It is a six session program which teaches you about how you can move your brand from being a promoter or a family driven brand into a professional and growth brand. So family business to a business family is what they find. We have mapped various successful businesses which are there in this space, and come up with a 6-layer framework, which is what we'll be discussing, which talks about a blueprint on how you can work on transformation. The blueprint involves, HR, change management in HR, technology, digital marketing as a tool, financing, funding options, and of course, private equity as well. We will discuss in that. So this is the course that's coming to you, and all of you who are interested to make this, transition, who are looking to grow your business, this would be an ideal, webinar for you to attend. And you have industry experts across who are coming and taking this webinar as well. And this is, it's a regular price at 2,999, and RISE, for the benefit of the viewers who have come in for this webinar, RISE offering it at 1,999. So you will have the login link, registration link right now on the chat box. So our team will put it up, so you can take that down. And all of you action takers who want to learn more on how the business can transition from native to super brands, please go ahead and do subscribe. Now I'll come back to Subhash sir and some questions. Sir, my thoughts on, you said you want to go private equity. Now there are multiple ways that you look at, as you grow your business. Traditionally, all the entrepreneurs have been taking all the risk on themselves. Now there's this new tool last 10 years called private equity, which has come in. You have seen many of your friends take it, use it. Some have done well, some have not done so well. What are your thoughts for Sangeeta? Have you considered private equity as a bridge before going to IPO?
Well, recently, about 2 years ago, we met various investment bankers whom we wanted to shortlist and finalize on and help us go and file the DRHP and go IPO. But we were advised that it is always better that you should dilute a small stake and raise some private equity before you take the big jump. So we said, okay, fine, we will consider that. But unfortunately for us, 2018-19 was not a great year. So 19-20 was a decent year considering the overall economic condition of the country. And in spite of the COVID, we are doing reasonably well. So we hope we should be able to dilute a little bit this year.
Absolutely. So other thing, I think what people have to learn from Sangeeta is probably, your understanding of branding, right from Vijay Deverakonda to earlier, the people whom you used, and everywhere we could see Sangeeta. So what are your tips on branding that you would give young entrepreneurs? How we should handle branding as a tool?
I believe that if I was a restaurant, Bala or somebody, like for example, my dad is his most favorite restaurant in Bangalore is Vidyarthi Bhavan Dosa. So, at every possible opportunity, he would like to go there and have dosa. See, that is a trademark. He's a manufacturer. He has his stamp on it, that taste, that whatever. So I'm a retailer. I can't differentiate. I'm not a manufacturer. I'm just trading a product. So what value add can I do? The only value add that I can do is I can give a great ambience or a good shopping experience or a product knowledge. But today everybody can do better than you also. They're also equally capable of matching you. So one thing that we have always done is, one is constantly innovate and build value-added services, putting ourselves in the customer's shoes. Second thing is constantly brand ourselves, because branding is something, it costs a lot, especially in our country. And with so many mediums of branding like electronic, TV, radio, digital today, you don't know where to advertise, where not to advertise. Whatever amount of money you have, it's not sufficient to advertise. So in spite of that, and that too, you're in a business where with single digit margin business, still we have not cut down on branding. We have always earmarked a good 2% of our margins, of our gross margins as branding cost. So therefore, probably it has helped us. It has worked.
In terms of diversification, Sangeeta has always stuck to something related to the technology industry only. As you said, go into HUD shop or take up distribution. So in the future, have you thought about any diversification other than telecom that you plan to do, sir, within the family?
Good question, Bala. In 1997, when I only one shelf I used to have for mobile phones. Okay. The entire showroom was selling TV, refrigerator, washing machine, audio system, video CD, video whatever. So I never, that day when we decided to quit everything else and become only mobile in the year 2001, we became only mobile. I never ever dreamt that I will once again sell a television, once again sell a vacuum cleaner. So today we have started selling vacuum cleaners also. We have started selling, in fact, in 90s and in 90s, in that single store in JC Road, I used to sell Philips hair dryer and brown silk appeal for personal grooming products for men and women those days. Very early, they were ahead of time. So today we are back to selling trimmers. We are selling Yamaha, we are selling Siska. We are just about to sign up with Philips. So the trimmers. So the diversification. See what diversification as of today. With our 650 real estate, beautifully located stores that we have, with our strong sangeetamobiles.com and the people logging in and visiting our site, we can add any number of products. So, and we are being choosy. We are slowly but surely trying to add a few product categories. Other than this, I really don't know. At this point in time, we don't have any much, because there's so much to do in telecom itself. You don't want to do too many things, right? In mobile, there is enormous potential. We are still 1%, not even 1% of what the country sells in terms of mobile phones. So, Sangeeta may claim to be 650 stores, the largest mobile-only retailer, but we are not even 1%.
Absolutely, it's a large one.
Yeah.
Sir, now coming to the relevant question of COVID now, we have a lot of entrepreneurs on this webinar who are looking at you, and yes, okay, mobiles, maybe there's like a grocery, as you said, as you keep saying often, that it's an essential commodity now, but there are a lot of retailers who are suffering, who are not able to make ends meet for rentals, for salaries. How? What is your advice to them to overcome this crisis, COVID crisis, and how are you looking at it, going forward?
See, there are certain industries which are very badly affected. It is an open secret. There are certain industries which are not so much affected. Like, for example, mobile retail is also affected. We do not have supplies. We have customers, but we don't have supplies. So we are in a peculiar spot that way. And we have challenges like we are not allowed to open stores even even today, after so many days of lockdown. We are not allowed to open the stores properly from morning to evening. There are a lot of restrictions. And God knows when this will all end. Doesn't look like ending in the next, at least in this financial year. So it is an extremely, extremely challenging time, especially for some sectors, be it as I can see, I see a lot of friends in, of course, restaurants and hospitality and travel, and even in amongst retail also, apparel and many other product categories are very badly affected. So I wish I had an answer, but we just have to keep our faith going, and hope against hope, and wish that and hope that things will turn around. And it's the belief system, it's the optimism, it's the positivity that will make things happen. So if we think we can, we can. Goes the saying. So if we think we can't, be all right. I keep reading this often and often inwardly for myself. So it's just we should not allow that negativity or the situation to overtake or engulf us. We should master the situation and be the master of the situation. Easier said, but yes, it's a very tough time. But I'm sure it's just a matter of time. Everything will pass. This also will pass.
I may add one sentence. Pasha said, when an youngster has a strenuous workout, he sweats a lot. He sweats a lot. From top to bottom, he'll be pouring down. But when he has a cool breeze of Marina Beach, how nice, how great the feeling would be. Corona is like that short workout period. Once this period is over, once this bad phase is over, yeah, all the entrepreneurs will feel really on top of the world.
Amazing, sir. A great way to look at it. I think that's experience talking. Thanks a lot for that positivity. So we have a lot of people from Sangeeta family here who have logged on. So, maybe employees, maybe partners, distributors, probably franchisees as well. So you can say a quick hi on the chat box from whoever from Sangeeta who have logged in. And I hope you've enjoyed the last 1.5 hours. So before we end, I have a interesting question for you. So you have built a great brand. I mean, as a family, you built Sangeeta, which is definitely the largest mobile retail brand in India. And if I can ask all three of you, which are your favorite brands? Maybe you can call out 1 or 2 brands and say why. That will be really nice to end the session. We'll start with Sir and then move, generation-wise.
See, Bala, I am a retired person in every single sense of the term. So, whichever phone I have, I may be using only 1%, 2% of the facilities that the phone provides me. So, I am not the right person to answer that question.
No, not just phones, any brand. Even it could be a food brand.
Okay. Any brand.
Any brand.
Food, clothing, watch. Could be anything.
Just from a brand building perspective, what has impacted you? What do you love?
See, I use Rado watch. I'm very happy with it. It looks good.
Yeah.
It goes well with my white dress.
It's a white watch.
Okay. It's a very elegant brand, yeah.
So Rado, yes.
So yours, sir? Subhash, sir?
Honestly, I'm not a brand man. I did not have the luxury of looking out for brands in my childhood. So, when I took charge of the company, just now, as I said, it was all work all through my life, or at least in a major part of my life.
I think so. Bala meant brands in that sense, that as a brand,
Okay. So, I respect Samsung amongst the mobiles. I respect Philips amongst, as a child, I used to use Philips radios. Carrying a single band radio in my school bag to listen to cricket commentary, chup chup ke was what I used to do as a kid those days. So Samsung Mobile, Philips, and then Sumit Mixi those days. These are some of the brands. Of course, Airtel.
You are not leaving your store, sir. You are taking the brands from your store.
Airtel, Coke. Okay, Coke, and then Taj as a hotel.
Yeah, fabulous brand.
Yeah.
Pandu, what about you?
Yeah, like that's it. Many currently maybe it's 3M and Dyson I'm really liking those products. And Satyam is a
Satyam is an
total
awesome.
favorite.
He's a great fan of Satyam movies.
Yeah, I love Satyam. I mean, Satyam
So
was.
he's no Chennai boy, sir. Half Chennai.
Yeah, absolutely. See, PVR, everybody else, they thought cheese is revenue. They thought popcorn is revenue, cheese is revenue. Satyam went on and said, take that cheese for free. You put it aside. The point is not about making it free. That's not why you become a favorite. But wherever the spotlight is on already. The entire public is talking about that. When the spotlight is on that, don't be branded as a negative. Apart from that, also they gave the looks to Chennai, which they never had.
Yeah.
Domino's is a great brand.
Thank you, Chandu. So, sir, thank you very much. Thank you, Subhash sir. Thank you, Chandu, and thank you, Narayan sir. I think it was probably I've done this season last 3 months in lockdown. I have done personally at least about 30 of these masterclasses for this branding session. I can definitely say this is my favorite because I have already have an emotional connect with you, and it's really nice to bring you on board and all three of you talk. Along with it being of treasure for you, it will be a treasure for me as well. Thank you so much, sir. I wish you all the best as we move ahead from Corona, and may Sangeeta rock. And definitely, if it goes to IPO, I will be subscribing for its shares. And we are anyway part of the Sangeeta family emotionally. All the best.
Thank you everyone who have logged in, and thank you Sangeeta family, and thank you all my vendors, all my distributors and brands who are online today. And but for you, this journey would not have been half of what it is. So, but for all your support. So thank you everybody, and thank you Bala once again for making this happen.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Over to you, Tanzila. You can end the session. Thank you, audience, as well.
Thank you. So first of all, I would like to thank all three of you, and this is actually one of my favorite sessions to have all three of you speak right from the beginning to right now what Chandu has spoken about. And let me tell you, sir, I think your customer service is unmatchable, and I have brought phones from various places, but nothing matches Sangeeta's brands. This is like from the bottom of my heart.
Sorry, I didn't get your name, ma'am.
My name is Tanzila.
Tanzila. Oh, hi, Tanzila. So thank you so much for those wonderful words about Sangeeta. And we will get inspired by your motivation, and we will strive harder to keep the customer delight high all the time.
Thank you, sir.
Sure.
Thank you, Bala. Thank you.
Thank you, Bala. Thank you, Tanzila.
Thank you.